The reason we're doing this video today is because we wanted to get the truth out there about these puzzles, ARGs, LARPs, whatever it is you want to call them, and many of the people that are involved in them, and let people know exactly how dangerous these puzzles can be, and also how dangerous some of the people involved can be. My wife here got involved in the puzzles after writing a book, and basically she got so sucked into them that she ended up hospitalized,
traumatized,
and basically could have died. So we just basically want to touch bases on what happened and kind of give you a timeline of what happened, some of the things that were involved, and how this all went down.
I ran across Tangri. It was the last week of March 2017, and Tangri basically finished on June 1st with their release, and I had ran across the Tango's channel because of it, and he played
Cicada.
the Liber Stupendous video, which really sucked me in, the video and the music both. And so then after June 1st, Tango was talking about the Cicada puzzle, and I started getting into that, and from there I started a Sophia music channel. I think it was around June 10th, I found Sophia's channel, and I had put a heart on his, I think it was the Zero video. And then he comes on and replies, and I posted some, I don't remember exactly, something about, I posted the time, it was 12:12, and some kind of synchronicity, and he was like, oh, we expected you, which was strange, and then he said, oh, you've unlocked the next video. I'm like, what? How'd they do that? I didn't even know this was a puzzle. I put 12:12, and it had something to do with the music, 12 notes or whatever, and we started emailing. He's like, don't tell nobody, blah, blah, blah. And one of his first questions was, what do you do for a living? And it was just all really strange after having to deal with the Tangri alien stuff and the cicada mystery, and now there was this third puzzle that just turned out to be a bunch of continuous rabbit holes that led nowhere. And then I started getting, I was being contacted by email by a couple of people, and also on a forum I was being approached. So I had multiple people coming at me,
Bombarding you.
all cryptic like. They would talk around questions, they wouldn't answer questions, they would just give me more links, or here, go read this, go listen to this song, go do this video, go talk to this person. And I was like being, look, here's a carrot, and then I get a little bit out of it, and it still just would leave me with more questions. And I'm like, okay, this thing has got to end somewhere. What is the point? Who's doing this? And I started figuring things out on my own, and I just, it didn't.
Just to make it clear, prior to this, and you were writing your book, you had never been involved in puzzling or anything of that nature technically online.
Yeah, I didn't know what an art was. I didn't know any of this lingo. I didn't know how to make videos. I picked that up by watching Defango. And he was entertaining. It was something to do. I finished writing, but then it was like starting all over again. I was right back to writing because there was so much stuff being thrown at me. I was being given homework, basically. They were sending me links and books and videos and songs and telling me all kinds of really tall tales. I wasn't believing them all. I was wanting to, like, who are these people? What? I mean, at first I thought I found this group of people who were spiritually enlightened and they knew things, but it was like more like they were just feeding me and telling me what I wanted to hear just to drag me along. And I still, the why.
Just a little bit of a background. We're both in our 50s, so we're not video gamers. We're not computer
Well,
gamers.
I used to play WoW.
For the most part, we're not into those things. We've been married for 33 years. We've raised 4 children, and I would be out working. And fortunately for Paula, she didn't have to have a job outside of the house, so she had a lot of free time to write her book and do what she wanted to do. And
Explore the universe.
she kind of got sucked into these puzzles by
I like the esoteric aspect of it.
the spiritual side of it, which was really, from what I saw, a mask, because a lot of the people that were involved really aren't spiritual people when you get down to talking about spiritual things. And it turned into being more about politics.
Yeah, and that's where it ended up after the email I got that was meant for somebody else that what's his face wrote ended up in my inbox asking someone. Well, the subject title was Henry will be soon in building inverted pyramids in the Amazon. I'm like, okay, whatever. But then the email was asking this guy in London to take over the role of Henry because I found out who he was. And I mean that as much as this guy lied, that could be totally. It's so confusing, all of it.
When
Somebody said he likes to sow chaos, I'll definitely agree with that because
what eventually happened here, I was not aware. I was totally in the dark of how they had sucked my wife in and what was really going on behind the scenes.
Well, you knew I was like solving the puzzle because it started with Tangri's page 23, which is what I came right when page 23 started, and I ended up translating it from Old Turkish. But then there was this debate whether somebody said, "Oh no, it was DNA code," but I'm like, but these words, I was able to translate them and come out with a paragraph of it actually saying something. And Tangri ended up saying in a Defango live chat that it was an old forgotten language, which that could be referencing DNA, or it could be referencing what I translated. Who knows? Because I never could get straight answers.
She discussed this stuff with me, and it kind of just went in one ear and out the other because I'm not really
into different things.
Into those things. So I guess what I'm saying is I really wasn't paying attention to how deeply they had sucked her in. I started researching some of it because she began to have problems sleeping and things of that nature. Staying up later at night till wee hours of the morning.
Sleep deprivation.
I noticed she was losing weight, things of that nature.
I had even mentioned integrity in private message because we talked a lot. And I was concerned because, I see Defango, this was last year, and he'd always have these dark circles under his eyes, and, that was concerning. And I noticed that there was teenagers, kids in these puzzles doing them. And it's like, where are you leading all these people? Okay, like you're really intelligent, but what are you doing with it? What for? What is your reason? I'm trying to see what else I wanted to.
I started to get concerned because of the lack of sleep, and it was affecting my wife physically. Other people, she mentions that she noticed dark bags under people's eyes.
Well, and the stuff they were telling me, like, oh, there's this kingdom under earth, and there's going to be this
Sophia's Garden,
worldwide inheritance, and this guy told me, what's his face? Told me, he's like immortal. He sent me a picture of himself with this older man, and he said, yeah, this is like my 88-year-old son. I'm like, okay.
And then he's only 50
and
something.
He's like, you're all skeletons, every single one of you, and I'm here to stop it, to save us, or whatever. And it's like, okay, I'm not gonna buy all this stuff. You're a little crazy there. And the first time we spoke on the phone, before we even said hello, he's like, "Yes, I'm real," you know, with his raspy laugh, and I'm like, "Why would you think I would think you're not real?" You know, I'm I'm more realistic than you might think. But honestly, what happened? I'll have to look up links to show in the background, but I was hypnotized through these songs and these videos that were directed at me. I was brainwashed. I was mocked and bullied, which he, what's his face, admitted to, but yet he was always pointing his fingers elsewhere, especially at Brother Box, who I never really, I talked to him in private message once way back, but I never really kind of, and he said, "Oh, this guy on the forum is Brother Box. The one that's mind fucking you is Brother Box. The one, you know, that's messaging and playing these other characters, that's Brother Box too." And it's like, oh, okay, so Brother Box is doing all this. But then he's like, "But don't you dare talk to him. If you talk to him, I'll never speak to you again." And it's like, after the Fallout email, he was, the childish character came out again. He's like, "Okay, I want you to take down every single video with my songs in it." I'm like, I'm stuck.
Once I realized that there was a problem and it was basically causing some health issues, I started researching these puzzles, the people involved, and it seemed like they were really geared heavily towards singularity, um, being your own person, wiping out your memories almost.
It was very MK-ish, all of it. Like, Devango said he was told the guy was in the CIA, but he doesn't believe it. It's hard to know what to believe with this guy. But that I could believe. Not just because, I mean, he told me Ian started Cicada with Bruce, and that the name Cicada was like his nickname. It was a name given to him because of whatever. And he claimed to be the math behind Tangri and the music behind Cicada, which is what he told me.
I mean, people, anybody who knows what cicada is understands that it was this, freakish, unknown thing that really brought a lot of suspense to people because nobody really knew who it was and who was behind it. And, they led people down these rabbit holes. They talked about following the white rabbit, following the
which
fox.
Is all MK. The white rabbit is in MK. It's known as the handler, and all these weird things kept.
It had gotten to a point.
He told me my dad and his dad were in the Navy together, and he said his dad was a psychiatrist. He said because of the Navy. And I'm like, okay, our dads were in the Navy at the same time in the same place. I was in this gifted program where these people came. They wanted me to skip a grade. They had me doing high school accounting in second, third grade. Motto of this year is overload your mind's capacity, which is in the game Assassin's Creed. And I did a video showing Cicada mentioned in the game. Overload your mind's capacity is pretty much what happened to me. And if that's your goal, it's not good because I got really sick. I had a breakdown. And this was even before the Fallout email that put more in my face of lies.
Basically, they start you out with these promises of this
enlightenment,
awakening, garden, Sophia's garden, treasures being bestowed, the world's treasures, whatever.
I have hundreds and hundreds of emails from this guy. And so he's the main one that crashed me, filled my head full of crap. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say his music hypnotized me. I don't know whether you don't have to believe it or not, but I experienced it. I literally directly watch a video, hear the song, and I do the headphones. I was really into it, and I actually physically slumped down in my chair. I was like, there was one. It was like I told him it was like a brain orgasm. There was good ones, there was bad ones, but I was like, I couldn't hardly move, and it was like, what the heck did you do to me? You know, and I'd ask him, he'd talk around stuff, and then he was doing weird stuff. I was doing weird stuff. I started glitching, and I was somewhere. I was like a ghost in a machine. It was so, I don't know. I've never had any problems my whole life. I've weighed 127 pounds my whole life. My last weigh-in was 101, and I was physically getting sick directly after watching specific videos. What's his face's video on Bruno? I spewed out 100 comments, you know, and some of them were logical, and some of them were just totally out there. But it was coming at me so fast, and I was just pouring it out. Whatever came, I was just putting it out there because I didn't know. And he was, you know, hearting the comments. He knew exactly what was going on with my mind and everything. He told me he studied psychiatry, the whole thing, except that he didn't have the certificate or the license or whatever. His dad was a psychiatrist, his father was a neurologist. But then when he interfered with my treatment on the telephone, told this woman, and she's like, yes, Dr. Schellenberger, and he's telling them how to prescribe me, what my condition is. Like, really? How would you know unless this is what you did? Whatever it is was induced, and I'm not sure why. They admitted to people that were directing videos at me. There's multiple channels, YouTube channels involved in this. They admitted that people were purposely trying to mind fuck me. And, you know, but he was always pointing fingers elsewhere. But I'm like, you know, it's your video. I literally vomited after the Bruno video. There was 3 times I got physically sick to where I vomited. The other one was that 4-hour video that lasted till 3 or 4 in the morning. And they're like, on the side, they're saying, you know, hit rest. But wait, you're doing a 4-hour video talking about me. And you started out talking about us saying, you know, delusional or whatever, paranoid, or
but you're
it's like, who are these armchair people diagnosing me?
You're skipping ahead. They don't even
I
understand
want to touch everything.
Okay, but they don't even understand what you're talking about with the diagnosis. I don't want to. I went to work one day, and I got a text from my daughter. And my daughter said, come home, something's wrong with Mom.
I'm not going into details of that.
And all I'm going to say is...
because there's so many of these crazy...
Look, you have to let these people know. Bottom line is, this caused a very, very bad crash for her. So bad that she had to go to the hospital.
And he interfered with it. He presented himself as a doctor.
He gave a diagnosis over the phone.
And proceeded to tell
the doctor
crew his diagnosis of me, which is totally wrong, false, trying to make me out look like I'm just crazy and it's just happened. I've never had any issues my whole life. Never been on pills, never had weight problems, never had physical problems. And I was literally sick. The night of that 4-hour video is what I was getting at. My husband had to carry me to bed. And I thought I was going to die. My daughter said, she looked in my eyes and I wasn't there. And I wasn't. Okay, movies talk about demonic possession. It's not exactly like the movies say, but to describe it, it sure as hell is fitting what it was like. This guy would tell me, okay, you're going to have a dream visit. And I would have dreams after he put this in my head, because in hypnosis, your logic is like toned down. My left side and my right side was like wide open. Like I was having to wear headphones around the house because my hearing was heightened, everything, my senses. And it was just this huge open funnel to everything, everyone. I was getting downloads of math, science, just, I mean, there was good stuff coming out of it. I was getting answers, but I had no control.
The worst part of this is when the breakdown actually occurred, I couldn't even talk to my own wife of 33 years and convince her that this is what the root of the problem was. So,
oh, I thought they were the good guys.
They had her brainwashed. I reached out to these people. I knew none of them. And I reached out to these people. And even after these people knew what had happened, they continued to
Did I already say
basically gang stalk. And I called these puzzles out.
Well, one of the women was literally scouring our Facebook, and she would send pictures of his work vehicles, and then she tried messaging my daughter. I'm like, this is just sick. He was telling me, oh, we're all dead. Everybody is skeletons except for me. I already said that.
The point I'm making here is these people knew the severity of what had been done. And even after they did, they still basically gang stalked. So I went online and I didn't really know these people. And I called these puzzles out and I said, look, as far as I'm concerned, they're hoaxes. They're cult-like. And let me just tell you, none of these people... I
wanted to believe they were good.
None of these people knew me at all. And I got gang stalked by these people, but yet they accused me of gang stalking them. They talked about people going to Discord rooms and
they were laughing
sitting
at my
there and making fun,
outpourings and my glitches,
making fun of how they were fucking with this lady's mind, my wife. They were fucking with her mind, and then they were laughing about how crazy and glitchy she was acting. Now, this basically is it's like a cult, and
I call it Scientology. Like Scientology is basically failing, and these guys are a little different. I mean, Freemason, Illuminati. I think there's something to that, but I call it Scientology.
I have personal emails where these people, when I reached out to them, said, oh, yes, we know that this person, and this person, and this person are doing this. And we are going to reach out to the group,
right,
and we're going to tell them.
We're going to call them out.
We're going to tell them to stop.
In that 4-hour video, the only one named was me.
Yep.
And in the end, the people that were doing this that he was calling out, he was chatting it up and joking around with them, calling them his friends. I'm like, seriously? That's
it never.
I literally was sick.
Put it this way, it never stopped. Yeah. It never stopped.
And there were several people coming at me. Like, I was assigned and sent to people, and then I'd ask a question, and I was like, oh, here's a link to a 360-page book. I'm like, no, answer my question. I'm not going to read these books and these videos and these songs. And for him to say he had made no money off of music is wrong, because I bought one of his songs. I was making videos off the music, and not to mention he was telling me about the well-known retail chain where he sells his CDs. So to say he doesn't make money off his music is not true. But that he's, what is it, screws chaos, what was that phrase? Likes to sow chaos. That is true. And if anybody could ever be described as a devil, a real life human person who would fit the role of Satan, I have met him. Well, not in person, but on the 666 phone number and through the hundreds and hundreds of emails.
It's May right now, 2018. This took place, the worst part of this, the major breakdown took place on September the 8th of last year.
It just kept getting worse. I was losing more weight, losing more sleep. I wasn't getting answers, but I couldn't
It took this
quite pull myself
long.
away because I was getting closer to the truth. I was getting closer to the answer. And is it because I was getting closer to the truth, or is it because it's about this shadow box business that were they going to want me to hire them to call off these bullies, even though it was them, they were part of it?
I created a YouTube account just so I could keep an eye on what was coming in. And like I said, as soon as I made any comments and said, "Hey, this is not a good thing. This is cult like," it's a
you can't
hoax.
disagree with them. You can't call anything out.
I
You will be
got
attacked.
bombarded on on YouTube. They stalked my Facebook. People were emailing me.
Well, look at my videos.
threatening
After
me.
the email, now I all of a sudden get this regular group of about 7 dislikes. Never had any dislikes, not that I really care, but it's obviously him and his little group of attack dogs. They would all attack me at the same time. Like there was a 6 versus 2 argument on the Cicada channel, and I forgot what
It honestly seems like it is a fight to who is
they
going
all
to be
blocked me at the same
who's
time.
going to be king or queen of YouTube
Yeah, he was
and social media, because it's all
throwing himself and herself as like a king and queen, like the immortal Saint Germain and the Revolution of the Fox, like
they claim this
saviors of the world.
they claim this isn't about money, but it's all about who's got the most subscribers,
I think
who gets the most clicks,
deal,
who gets the most likes,
and it's in the video game. Ours are used to promote video games and movies, and people also do them as script submissions. So this is like his ticket to Hollywood or something. And I'm like, seriously, this has to be stopped. They're hurting people. They do hurt people. I've seen other Marcus. I agree with a lot of what he had to say when he said many sleepless nights, etc. And DeFango's eyes told me a lot, and I can't say specifically what his were about, but he was heavily, obviously, investigated.
The amazing part is these people who were preaching love and kindness to everybody were the same people who attacked and then would turn around and go, "Oh, but we don't want to do anything."
They didn't ask me questions, really. They didn't want to hear me out.
We don't want to do anything but help. We want to help you, help your wife.
Right.
We want to help you. But yet they would turn around and attack if you...
And every time I try to explain, if I didn't explain it in a way that was acceptable to them, they're like, "Oh, you're full of shit," basically. I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't care. It is just me against 100 of them." I don't know how many. No, that's giving them too much credit. But they would attack me like 6 at a time and come at me. And it didn't matter what I said. They would just say, "Oh, you're delusional. Oh, you're paranoid." Then they had all these other people saying it. And it's like, seriously? So then you believe someone is having issues. And then what do? You go around and attack them and say, "Oh, you're paranoid. Oh, you're delusional." But viciously. So it's like, okay, you attack people with mental issues. I've seen it happen and again with the drama between different YouTube channels, and they go after people and they literally make fun of people who do have conditions, and what they do is they point it at that and say, "Oh, look at this." It's horrible. It reminds me of childhood, like elementary bullying all over again. And really, if you've been bullied as a child, you never really get over it. You just learn to deal with it and move on. But then when you face a group of adult bullies, it just sends you, so it opens up old wounds while at the same time creating new ones. And it's just like they're injecting this poison.
I totally get this is going to be somewhat confusing to some people, but it's,
there's a lot. It's just, where do you start?
I don't want to get to a point to where, we boggle people with too much. So we've been going on here for about a half an hour. We put some information out there. I want to close this off before Paula gets too upset again.
We got some else to be.
And I just want to close by saying this. I have many files, as does Paula, with emails, screen captures, chats of all this attacking and all these
And I'm like,
leading people down false
okay, who do you go
paths.
to? If this is CIA, can you trust the FBI? I don't know. Jesse is a political activist and advocate for the homeless. He called out local corruption, so he gained enemies by the good old boy Democrat pocket stuffing guys.
The machine.
He called them out. He got a lot of them fired. He went to the FBI. There was an FBI investigation, which we assume is still ongoing because it's been years and we haven't seen no arrest. We've seen no newspaper articles, and he presented them all the evidence of the corruption. They basically kicked 10 local contractors to the curb. Well, I'm getting off topic.
Yeah, no, we gave the FBI and the state police here about
but I'm like, who do you
15 gigs worth of evidence.
You go in the phone book and call Ghostbusters. You can't go to the CIA. Can you trust the FBI? I don't know. After what? Who can you go to with this? Who do you tell? What do you do? So this is what we're doing because we're possibly going to talk to our FBI friend and a lawyer because if this is going to be Hollywood, no. There's teenagers. I saw the teenagers. They were filling their heads. One teenager was threatened by these people.
I was afraid to even really do this video and put it out there. Number one, I didn't want to upset Paula.
And more coming at.
And I knew how hard this would be for her.
I don't want YouTube wars back and forth.
And I also knew that this was going to end up being just a conglomeration of everything that happened. So, as I said, I really think at this point we're going to close the video. We will do more videos down in the future, and each video will be detailed towards a specific issue with this.
I hope it's recording because it's flashy.